All right, guys, so today we got to talk about an alleged hate crime that occurred at Fairfax High School in Virginia. And this incident involves a black female Muslim student who alleges that she was assaulted by another student and that racial and Islamophobic comments were made towards her, which indicates that this may have been done because of her religion and or her race. Now, students at this high school have actually orchestrated walkouts in support of this Muslim student, and they've actually come up with a change.org petition that has about 35,000 signatures now, demanding that the school do more about what happened to this girl during this incident. Now, the police have come out and basically denied that this is a hate crime. And to me, I think that this has created an interesting situation because the police's story and this girl's story are basically directly contradicting each other in regards to what actually happened. And I want to talk about this. But first, I want to go ahead and play the news clip of this incident so that you guys get a better understanding of what happened. Take a look.
An estimated 350 students protested at Fairfax High after they say a student was attacked here Tuesday afternoon because she's Muslim.
She couldn't breathe. She was laid on the floor. She couldn't move out of her position.
Students accused the school system of trying to sweep the incident under the rug.
The school's trying to cover it up and said I had a panic attack, which that did not happen.
Ekran Mohammed says some students made racist drawings in a marketing class, became increasingly aggressive, and then one of them assaulted her.
My backpack bumped into him, and then he got mad, and he pushed me, and then he grabbed my hijab.
Mohammed says he pulled her hijab off, and when she fought back, he shoved her hard into a desk.
Everybody was outside waiting for the buses, and we saw the ambulance come into the school.
Physically, my whole left side of my body is bruised. Mentally, I'm okay because I have all the support around me today.
Mohammed says she and the student were given the same punishment, a one-day in-school suspension, which they served Wednesday in the same room where she says the student kept looking at her.
That's entirely unacceptable, and that's something I want to go back to see with staff how we can do better in the future.
County School Board member Abrar Omeish, the only elected official in Virginia who wears a hijab, says she's concerned by the response. The school system told us it is investigating and, quote, no further details can be shared at this stage as administrators work to establish the facts. Fairfax County Public Schools and City of Fairfax Schools support the rights of students to peacefully protest.
All right, guys, so you've seen that, you heard that. Now, police have come out and basically said that there is no evidence of a hate crime that occurred in this altercation. Now, let's actually read what the police said because it's going to be pretty interesting. A City of Fairfax Police Department investigation has determined that a physical altercation at Fairfax High School on Tuesday was not a hate crime, according to a press release. The investigation revealed there were no racial comments made by either student, according to police. Police said that the female student confirmed her hijab became partially undone during the altercation, exposing her hair. The female student told police that the information posted on several social media sites stating that racial comments were used during the altercation were false, according to a City of Fairfax Police Department press release. The investigation into the physical altercation is going on, according to police. All right, so there were students that walked out over this, right? They said that this happened, okay? And they've also started a change.org petition saying that the high school should do more about this. Now, the police are basically saying, hey, this is not a hate crime. In fact, she told us, she admitted to us that there were no racial comments made by either student and her hijab became undone during the altercation. And that's why it exposed some of her hair, right? That it basically, to me, that it sounds like, okay, during the fight, doing whatever they were doing, that's when her hijab got, undone. It wasn't that the student came through and just pulled it off her head or tried to pull off her head, as some act of, Islamophobia or whatever, right? It seems like what the police is saying, okay? And the female student herself told the police, again, according to the police, that all the statements on social media about there being racial comments were false, right? So I hope I hope that the police have a recording and documentation of what this student's saying, because this student's lawyer is coming out and disputing the Fairfax police and saying that no, this was actually a hate crime and that she was attacked because of her race and her religion. Let's read here. Abed Ayub, legal director of the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, who represents a 16-year-old black Muslim American sophomore at Fairfax High School, says the Fairfax City Police were premature in ruling out hate crime charges. Quote, there's multiple witnesses who can attest to racist and Islamophobic comments and overtures being made immediately prior to the incident into the assault, Ayub said. He said his client spent the evening following the fight in the emergency room and that medical reports show contusions and bruises were given to police. Ayub also said that when the student went to school the next day, she was immediately told, you're serving in-school suspension. And on top of that, she served in-school suspension in the same room with the perpetrator, which is unheard of. All right, so with that being said, I actually don't think that it's weird or unheard of for a school to have two people that were, in a fight or whatever, serve ISS together. I think as long as you have an administrator in there that can control the two, I think it's perfectly fine. Okay, considering how these schools have limited room for stuff like that. Okay, I don't think that's necessarily unheard of. And I'm also not surprised that the school did that, because I actually went and found a firsthand account from this girl in regards to what she was saying that happened. Okay, now here's the thing. I'm actually not going to go into the details of what she was saying. And the reason why is because she's a minor, and the things that she's saying that happened to her, it may be a little bit too graphic for YouTube. So I'm just going to play it safe and just tell you guys that, in my opinion, from what I heard, right, her side of the story, plus what the police are saying, plus what the school did, I don't think that this was a hate crime. Okay, I think that this was a regular school fight. Okay, because according to her, she actually hit the dude first. Okay, and the kid in question, the perpetrator, is actually Egyptian. He's not even white. Can you guys imagine if the perpetrator was actually white, how big this story would be? It would be front page news. It would be on CNN, MSNBC. It would be one of the biggest stories in the country. It would be. But because the perpetrator is Egyptian, it's kind of swept under the rug. Okay? Swept under the rug. It's still out there. It's kind of viral. But you got to go searching deep on the internet to actually find out what the perpetrator looked like, right? For this so-called racially motivated hate crime. So in regards to the whole race narrative thing, I don't think there's anything there. One, because she told the police that there were no racial comments made. And when you actually listen to her story, the part where she says is racist is simply that they drew a picture of George Floyd. The perpetrator drew a picture of George Floyd, and she said that was racist. Right? That's what she said. So she didn't say that any racial comments were actually directed at her. She really didn't even say that any anti-Islamic comments were actually directed at her specifically, verbally. She just says that the person drew a anti-Islamic symbol and looked at her. That's what she says. Okay? That's what she says. So that, that perpetrator doing that led to the conflict, a conflict in which she actually hit the perpetrator first. And the reason why she hit him first is because she claims that he tried to grab her hijab after she accidentally hit him with her backpack. Okay? That's what she says happened. Now, when she was talking to the news crew, interestingly enough, she left out the part about how she says that she tried to grab the Egyptian boy's hair, and she also punched him in the stomach, after he, allegedly tried to grab her hijab. Okay, she left that part out of it. She just said that her backpack hit him accidentally, and then he turned around and pushed her. Okay, so she's telling different versions of the story depending on who she's talking to, at least from what I'm seeing. Okay, and that also explains why there's so many different versions of this story on the internet. So, in my opinion, just based off that story and the fact that it doesn't seem like the perpetrator here just out of nowhere got up and tried to attack her or anything like that, I just don't see where, this is a so-called hate crime. According to the authorities and the actions of the school, it indicates to me that this was something that was probably two-sided, and that she may be, playing up the whole, hate crime thing as a way to make it look like that, well, she's the victim in this situation. And I'm not saying she's not, but I wouldn't go as far as to say it was a hate crime per se, as much as just, well, you got in a fight with a male and, you're a girl, that's probably not going to end well. Okay. That's probably not going to end in your favor. Okay. And that's essentially what happened. But what happens, guys, is that, again, we live in a time period where people are quick to try to play that card in order to get sympathy, even if what happened was two-sided. And that's why you see all these students walking out, and doing these protests and signing these petitions for something that, again, if you actually listen to her story, it doesn't even sound like it was a clear-cut act of hate. That's not what it sounds like. It sounded like how regular school fights start. There's some conflict that leads to, people, roughing up against each other, touching each other, or whatever. And then it kind of goes sideways. That kind of seems like what happens, right? That happens in probably 99% of school fights, okay? Doesn't automatically mean that it was an act of hate. It doesn't automatically mean that it was done because of racism or because, somebody's religion, okay? Doesn't necessarily mean that. Now, again, I'm not saying that couldn't be the case. I don't know. I'm just saying from my perspective, from what I've read about, I don't think that's the case. And I think that a lot of these students are making a big fuss over nothing, to be quite honest with you. Something that happens every single day in high schools across America's kids get in fights over petty little conflicts that they have. So, in my opinion, I believe the police on this one. I don't think that the police are covering anything up. I think they're taking her word for it and saying, this ain't really a hate crime. And I think that the school gave her in-school suspension because they know that this was mutual. It wasn't a one-sided thing. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.